Princess Anin had always been admired for her grace and strength. As the heir to the throne, she carried her kingdom's burdens alone, hiding her loneliness behind regal smiles. But everything changed when Lady Pin, a fearless knight from the south, arrived at court. Lady Pin was unlike anyone Anin had ever met. Bold, honest, and unafraid to challenge the world. She was assigned to protect the princess after a neighboring kingdom threatened war. The air grew thick with tension as negotiations dragged on, each session becoming a tightrope walk for Princess Anin. Lady Penelope, or Pin as she preferred, rode into the kingdom like a force of nature. Hailing from a renowned order of knights from the south, Pin was no ordinary warrior. Her spirit was as untamed as the wild horses that roamed the southern plains, and her sword arm was a legend waiting to be written. She was to be the princess's protector until the threat of war subsided. And what a protector she was! Unapologetically herself. You must understand that diplomacy is a delicate dance. It's not a battlefield where brute strength can win the day. If we are to stand by idly while our neighbor threatens, then we are no better than sheep awaiting their fate. The threat of war loomed large, casting an ominous shadow over the once vibrant kingdom. The coming days were a whirlwind of activity as Pin took up residence in the castle, her presence like a constant breeze that stirred Anin's world from its monotonous routine. Pin's influence wasn't merely physical. Her spirit was as indomitable as her fighting prowess, and she soon became a fixture in the royal court. Anin felt isolated, burdened by the responsibility of protecting her people. Because I've loved you since the day I saw you fight for your people as the fireworks burst above them, painting fleeting masterpieces of color across the night sky. Anin closed the distance between them. Their lips met in a kiss as the last firework faded away, leaving behind only the echo of its brilliance and the promise of a love that would light up their world like 1,000 lanterns. Pin replied, her voice echoing the sentiments that had become a constant hum in Anin's heart. You're strong, but you deserve to be held softly too. Tears welled up in Anin's eyes. She turned to Pin, her own feelings mirroring the turmoil of the heavens above. The question that had been echoing in her soul-found voice. Why did she feel so strongly about this night? Why did her nights seem colder without Pin's easy laughter and her days dull without Pin's vibrant presence? With every passing day, the possibility of war grew, and so did her loneliness. Sunlight glinted off Pin's armor, turning her into a human sunbeam. Laughter rang out as the young knights tried to emulate her lightning-fast swordplay. Anin smiled, feeling a pang of longing. It had been years since she'd felt this carefree. Their first meeting was anything but gentle. Pin spoke directly, questioning Anin's decisions in front of the royal council. Pin's straightforward nature became a breath of fresh air in the stifling atmosphere of royal protocol. One cool evening, as the sky blazed with hues of orange and purple, Anin found herself seated beside Pin on the castle ramparts. The bustling city lay at their feet, a tapestry of twinkling lights woven between the old stone buildings. The grand festival of lights was upon them. The two spent hours together in the evenings, discussing strategy and tactics. Pin, with her vast experience, regaled Anin with tales of daring battles and narrow escapes. Her eyes would gleam with excitement as she described the clash of steel and the thrill of victory for Anin. These stories weren't just adventures. They were portals to a world she'd only dreamed of. A world where valor and courage were celebrated and where one could fight not just for survival, but for the sheer joy of it. Though Anin felt insulted, her heart raced at Pin's fierce confidence. She stood tall, her armor gleaming like a second skin, her emerald eyes scanning the room with an intensity that was both unnerving and intriguing. Anin sat on her throne, her gaze fixed on the newcomer. There was something about this knight that intrigued her, a fiery independence that seemed to burn brighter than the tapestries adorning the walls. Days turned into weeks. Pin guarded Anin everywhere. The gardens, meetings, and moonlit walks. Her directness was like a splash of cold water, jolting Anin out of her customary genteel demeanor. The atmosphere, already tense from weeks of war preparations, thickened with tension. Anin, however, found herself strangely liberated by Pin's forthrightness. Here was someone who wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo, to question decisions that seemed detrimental to their kingdom's well-being. "Your Highness," Pin began, her voice ringing with authority, "why have we not prepared for war? Are you truly willing to let General Marius dictate our fate?" Her words hung in the air, sharp and clear. It was a question that echoed the sentiment Anin had been wrestling with, but she had never heard it so bluntly stated. They spent long hours talking about life beyond the palace walls. For the first time, Anin felt seen not as a ruler, but as a woman with dreams and fears. Unlike many of her peers, Anin's spirit was as boundless as the horizon, her heart filled with dreams that extended far beyond the castle walls. Yet duty was a heavy cloak she wore daily, for she was the heir to the throne. Every decision she made could shape the fate of her kingdom, and so she shouldered the burdens of her royal lineage with grace and poise, never allowing the weight of expectations to crack the facade of perfection she presented to her people. Behind closed doors, though, the vibrant colors of her silk gowns couldn't hide the monochrome emotions of her heart. For being a princess meant sacrificing joy for protocol, laughter for decorum, and love for loyalty to her crown. Pin would tell her stories of battle and freedom, her eyes shining with passion, while Anin secretly admired the way her armor clung to her strong frame. One evening, during the grand festival of lights, Anin snuck away from her duties to meet Pin by the castle balcony. The kingdom sparkled below them with thousands of lanterns floating into the sky. "Why do you always look at me like that?" Anin whispered, unable to hide her trembling lips. "Because I've loved you since the day I saw you fight for your people," Pin said, cupping Anin's face gently. "You're strong, but you deserve to be held softly too." Tears welled in Anin's eyes. She closed the distance between them, their lips meeting in a desperate, tender kiss under the lantern-lit sky. In that moment, there was no princess and no knight, just two souls bound by endless love. From then on, Lady Pin became not only her protector, but her heart's keeper. Together, they ruled with compassion and bravery, proving that love knows no limits. Not titles, not kingdoms, not tradition. Their love was endless. Once upon a time, in a realm where magic whispered through ancient trees and mythical beasts roamed free, there lived a princess named Anin. One day, a neighboring kingdom, known for its bellicose nature, sent a delegation led by the infamous General Marius, a man whose every step echoed with the thunder of approaching storms. Then came a ray of hope, or rather a whirlwind of steel and sunshine. When Pin first entered the throne room, all eyes were on her. As the meeting commenced, Pin wasted no time in getting straight to the point. Around the room, murmurs rippled through the assembled nobles. Some shifted uncomfortably in their seats, while others exchanged uneasy glances. "Lady Pin," the Duke of Alder, his voice dripping with condescending patience. Pin's response was immediate and unwavering. Diplomacy should not be a farce, my lord, but a genuine pursuit of peace. And so their first meeting ended not with a gentle exchange of pleasantries, but with seeds of respect planted between a princess and a knight from different worlds. Morning found Anin in the castle gardens, her gloved hands resting on the cool stone of a fountain as she watched Pin practice with a group of young nobles. As the weeks went by, the rhythm of the castle changed. Yet beneath this camaraderie, a different kind of battle was brewing. "Why do you always look at me like that?" Anin whispered, her fingers nervously tracing the intricate design on her sleeve. In that moment, amidst the kaleidoscope of emotions, Anin realized that she loved Pin, loved her for her strength, her kindness, and the unwavering belief in her own humanity.